Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts, America's Still Beautiful podcast, a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts, America's Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to America Still Beautiful. It's a podcast brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. That information is brought to you just in case you suddenly stumbled upon this without knowing it was a podcast, or it was called America Still Beautiful, or if your phone randomly started playing it. Anyway you got here, we're very glad that you're here. Thanks a ton for listening. I'm Brooklyn. I'm your host today. And it's true, America really is still beautiful. We're going to start off today by talking about our amazing holidays that it is today on September 4th. But first of all, how are you doing? Are you feeling the gratitude in your heart for the good things in your life right now? I think it's the best way to start off good news is recognizing the good news in your life. The good news for me this week is very suddenly we had a big task come up, and it required a lot of cleaning and decluttering and just like very quick putting together of things, and we got it done, and it worked out really well, and it went well, and so I'm really just grateful that that went off. Even though it was a hitch, it kind of went off without any further hitches. So, I'm just grateful that I got a body and I didn't have any broken bones or anything, I guess. I'm just grateful that I was able to complete the thing that I wanted to do. And I'm just grateful that generally my family is healthy as well. So what are you grateful for today? Take a second, think about it. Awesome. Well, we're going to give you even more to be grateful for today because it's National College Colors Day. Did you know it? Well, in honor of this situation, I actually am wearing my college's colors. I'm wearing the green. I'm representing the Wolverines. Woohoo! So what if you are in college, you're graduated, you are thinking about going to college someday, maybe wear some colors that would represent that for you. Across the United States, students, parents, family, faculty, fans, and alumni celebrate College Colors Day every year on the Friday before Labor Day. By rocking your college colors and apparel, you show spirit and school pride. When you go to a college game and you look out over the stands on the field with cheerleaders, athletes, faculty, friends, all sporting the school colors, it's hard to be nonchalant because it just looks so cool. I do love that. I love the unity of everyone wearing the same color to support the school that they're into. So whether you're still in school or those college days are looking long behind you, just for today, put on those old college t-shirts or watch your favorite college football game. True colors and spirit run deep. And it's awesome with the internet right now. You can watch a lot of games, dance performances, just lots of things that anything that your school has done, you can probably watch it over again, especially sporting events. So that's pretty awesome. This holiday was actually founded by the College Licensing Company in 2004. And the fans get to rep the apparel of their favorite college or uni throughout the day. So who is the College Licensing Company? Well, they are a licensing division for over 200 colleges in the United States. They're famous for developing brand licensing and building the massive fan base behind the University of Alabama with Bear Bryant in 1981. The CLC is largely responsible for providing the college-branded merchandise we value so much today. From Boston College to Stanford University, you can thank them for your koozies, your jerseys, and your branded hats because it's likely that they license them. Well, that's really amazing. It all started in 1636, if you can believe it. Harvard University is established as one of the oldest institutions of higher education in the U.S. In 1902, we had our first Rose Bowl, which is the first college bowl to take place following the Rose Parade in California. 1981, the Crimson Tide signed the deal. That's the University of Alabama with Bear Bryant. In 1986, in an act of sheer devotion, Boise State University installed the blue, making it the very first non-green stadium field. I've been up there to Boise State, and I mean, the turf is blue. It is blue. It's very impressive and dedicated. The first College Colors Day takes place in 2004, which encourages students from all schools of all sizes to show off their colors. So whether you're in trade school or you're over there at Yale or somewhere in between, represent your school colors today and tag us on Instagram so we can celebrate with you. Not only is it National Colors Day, but it's also a holiday that I have never heard of and really like the sound of. National Lazy Moms Day. Oh yeah, September 4th is National Lazy Moms Day. I did not know about this. I did not know there was another mom day besides Mother's Day. So let me tell you about it. National Lazy Moms Day on September 4th is observed on the first Friday of September every year. It's your reminder to lend a hand and give your mom a much-deserved break from her daily tasks. Sure, Mother's Day is a wonderful day where we celebrate our mothers and shower them with gifts and praise. However, even on Mother's Day, sometimes moms are still found cooking or cleaning or getting all dressed up for brunch. But this Lazy Moms Day is just a day for mom to relax, not do hair or makeup or cleaning or cooking or work, anything that she usually puts effort into. She doesn't have to on this day, apparently. And more than once a year today, no purchases are necessary. You just cover your mom's duties as best you can and tell her to cool it. So I like this. What can you do for your mom today? I gotta think of something and see if my mom will let me come over and help with vacuuming. Or my mom is very prompt in her cleanliness, and it's very inspiring to me. So she's always working hard on the house. So maybe I can help her with something like that today. That would be great. So what's the history of this Lazy Moms Day? It's a day that was established for moms to take a day for themselves. And we've got some really good highlights in history from women and people who are celebrating moms. This timeline goes all the way back to 2300 BC, which is Sri Lakshmi Hindu goddess who nourishes all life, and she is first mentioned in this year, 2300 BC. Then in 700 BC, Gaia, who is also known as Mother Earth, is introduced as the first goddess of Greek mythology. In 1903, Madame Curie is the first woman and mother to receive a Nobel Prize. That's a cool little piece of info. And in 1992, Kathy Headley, who is the mother of seven, established Mothers Without Borders to help orphaned children around the world. Moms do incredible work in the world of their children, and they do incredible work in the world that we live in. So what a great day to celebrate moms and to help them be a little lazy today. That would be really, really nice, right? Oh, awesome. Well, I hope that you're excited for our stories today because we definitely have some great ones. We've got an incredible sister who saved her brother's lives. We've got geniuses. We have encouraging stories, people who started from the bottom, now they're here. High school football teams helping out neighbors. And, of course, later on, I've got some stories about cake. But let's start out with this woman from South Salt Lake who saved her brothers by fending off an attacker with a flag. She feared she was desecrating the flag that flew on her home, but 73-year-old Lejeune Timmerman said she had no other choice as she used Old Glory to fend off an unknown attacker. She said, "He beat up my two big brothers. He hit me and I didn't have much leverage to go at him, and then he choked me, and that's when I got angry and started whooping him with this. Oh my goodness, this is a scary story, right? I know, but it's pretty amazing how she saved her brothers. Oh man, so this guy was acting strange. He was kind of loitering around and then started attacking her brothers. And she said that the only way she could stop him was to take her old flagpole and stick him with it and hit him with it. Because she was not going to let him she was not just going to stand there while he attacked her brothers. And then after this, the man barged inside the house and started making a disturbance in there. And so she got a chance to call the police, and they were able to come over and arrest him. Now, she said that she has always had an appreciation for the United States flag, and this ordeal has only deepened it. I respect the flag 100% and touch it, and it's bad news. The old flag was damaged, unfortunately, during the fight, so the police gave the family a new flag. The police officer says that she would do it all over again if it happened again. She will put Old Glory to work. I really like the picture that goes along with this article. This woman is standing with her brothers and many police officers in their masks and just with the flag waving there too. So, oh, what a scary moment. And of course, we don't want this to happen to anybody. We don't want this to happen to us. We don't want it to happen to anyone close to us. But how awesome that this woman was able to just save her brothers by thinking quick on her feet and using what she had available to her. So awesome, amazing story. I am so glad that we get to learn about these fun people, and I have even more people to tell you about today that are really incredible. How sweet that this woman saved her brothers' lives, and I hope that we can be a lifesaver for you on the podcast today, because we will continue to bring you the latest good news. We have a human calculator and this 215-year-old married couple to tell you about right after this quick commercial break.
The GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back to the show. This is America Still Beautiful by GSMC. I'm your host, Brooklyn, and it's time for even more fantastic stories. Can you do math quickly in your head? What's 1 plus 1? 2. You're a genius. What's 42 plus 42? 84. That's right. Well, there is a guy that can probably do it faster than any of us, and CNN reports on this amazing child with a fractured skull who grew up to become the world's fastest human calculator. It says, what's 869 million times 4? So, sorry. I can't even say this long number. How embarrassing. 869,463,853 times 73. Well, the average person would still be reaching for their calculator. 23-year-old Neelakantha Bhanu Prakash already has the answer. He says it's 63,470,861,269, and it takes only 26 seconds for Bhanu, known in India as the world's fastest human calculator, to work it out in his head. According to the Limca Book of Records, which is India's equivalent to the Guinness Book of World Records, Banu's mind processes numbers at an average speed of 12 per second, around 10 times faster than the regular brain. Wow. Can you imagine being a neuroscientist and studying this guy's brain? What a heyday. So Banu says that he's able to make such complex calculations at breakneck speed through, quote, structured practice. He says, let's say I'm doing a multiplication of 8,763 multiplied by 8. I will probably multiply 8,000 by 8, which is 64,000, 700 by 8, which is 5,600, 60 by 8, which is 480, 3 by 8, which is 24. And then I add all of these together. But this requires the human brain to remember all of this. Okay, look, I am not saying I am like this guy at all, or have a little fraction of the brain capacity of this guy, because I do not. However, I have never heard of anybody else working out multiplication problems that way, and that's the way I work them out. So I feel very seen, I feel very validated, and although I probably can't multiply numbers into the thousands, millions, or billions, that's how I always multiply, is like by doing the calculation of, the things just by tens, like 20 times 5 would be like 20 times 5, 2 times 5. Anyway, I'm impressed that a guy so smart has a similar brain process to me. But anyway, again, we're not the same. I'm not this smart, but I think it's a really clever way to do it. Again, if you can remember all the numbers that you come up with as the sums and the products. He says, the methods which I use are very similar to general methods, but certain things. Basically, it's brain optimization. I optimize my methods and make them better than before. At the end of the day, whatever I call my methods, sometimes it just happens. There's a certain process, obviously, but since you have trained your brain, it just happens. It just happens. Like, math does not just happen for me. Oh, that's amazing. All right. Well, on August 15th, Banu from Hyderabad in India's southern Telangana state became the first Asian to win gold at the Mental Calculation World Championship at the Mind Sports Olympiad in London. He's also the first non-European winner in the event's 23-year history. Wow, record-breaking. In his competition debut, Banu beat 29 opponents from 13 countries to take the gold. His speed was so extraordinary that judges made him jump through extra hoops and solve more calculations to confirm his accuracy. Just don't call him a prodigy. He says, definitely not, because I find the word prodigy a little troubling, as it doesn't capture the efforts and experience. It's just a state that's obtained out of nowhere. So Banu stresses that his extraordinary mathematical ability did not come easily. In fact, it all could have been very different. In 2005, when he was 5 years old, Banu fell from his cousin's scooter when he was hit by a truck, banging his head on the road. Oh my gosh. Banu fractured his skull. He needed 85 stitches and multiple operations before doctors put him into a medically induced coma. When he woke up 7 days later, the doctors told his parents that Banu could be cognitively impaired for the rest of his life due to his head injuries. He spent the whole next year bedridden. Oh, can you imagine being 5-6 years old and not being able to get out of bed? Oh, so sad. He said that accident changed the way I used to define fun, and it is the reason why I am here today. During his recovery, Banu learned how to play chess and solved puzzles to keep his brain engaged, eventually progressing to math problems. He says, I remember the pain vividly. This is the most traumatic experience I have had in my life. I couldn't even go to school for a year. All I had to rely on to get better were numbers and puzzles. The head injury left him with a, quote, ugly-looking scar. To protect his feelings, Banu's parents removed all mirrors from around the house for a year. Oh, how interesting. But he was determined not to let the scar define him. He says, it drove me forward, and I knew there's something that I am good at, and I will prove myself there. In 2007, Banu finished the third finished third in the sub-junior category at a state-level speed arithmetic competition in Andhra Pradesh state. His performance brought his father to tears and says, "It wasn't the medal, it was what led me there that moved my father." Yeah, I'd be pretty emotional and proud of my kid too if, after an enormous brain injury, he took third in a math competition. It's amazing. Banu has since secured many wins, including the open category in India's 2011 National Speed Arithmetic Competition. And from the age of 13, he's represented India in international competition and broken 4 world records for fastest human calculation, power multiplication, super subtraction, and mental math, powers of 2 and 3. Wow. He has also broken 50 Limca records. 50 records. Who else holds 50 records? Come on. Maybe someone with a record player. Just kidding. Sorry. 50 world records. He's earning comparisons with legendary Indian mathematician Shakuntala Devi. While I'm attempting a world record, it's almost like the world around me slows down, which is what he explains. He says it's kind of like The Flash, where he runs everything else around is blurred. It definitely feels nice, but is also extremely liberating to actually do these complex calculations at this pace. So the neurons firing in the brain lead us to make believe that we are capable of doing things which we don't imagine. So I would say you almost feel like a superhero. Almost. I mean, I'm sure this brain power is going to carry him to do absolutely incredible things for himself and for his community. Banu says that he is passionate about his goal to eradicate math phobia. Hey, that's true. That's a big problem. The fearful feelings many of us have towards mathematics can lead us to avoid situations in which we have to perform calculations and negatively impact our life choices. According to a 2002 study published in the Journal of Current Directions in Psychological Science, highly math-anxious individuals are characterized by a strong tendency to avoid math, which ultimately undercuts their math competence and forecloses the important career paths. In 2018, Banu founded the Exploring Infinities, an educational organization that aims to make math cool, challenging, interesting, and immersive by tracking cognitive ability development through arithmetic games. He says, "My experience began the day I went to a rural government school in India and realized kids there did not know that multiplication is repetitive addition. That's what struck a chord, and that's why I began my firm. This organization now has 500,000 subscribers and works at the grassroots level in India, and pre-coronavirus organized math boot camps in Bangladesh and Indonesia. Its digital learning program also has students from the United Kingdom and United States." He continues to inspire through his outreach work, including TEDx talks and his startup Exploring Infinities, which emphasize that anyone can improve their math skills and make the world a better place. Banu's recent successes caught the attention of India's President Ram Nath Kovind and Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, who congratulated him on his big win. After years of struggling for state funding to take part in international competitions, he hopes his victory will usher in a new era of support for India's aspiring mathematicians to compete at the world level. He says, "For any country to develop and thrive globally, numeracy is as important a skill as literacy," he says. 3 out of every 4 students who study in the government schools of India have trouble understanding basic mathematics. Banu says his debut MSO victory may also be his last in the tournament, as he focuses instead on his philanthropic work. "I'm not sure if I'm going to be participating in competitions anymore," he says. "I don't think I should. I have established my point that I am quicker. I am in a position that people hear me, I better use it. I don't want to be the face of mathematics. There are enough of those, and they are exceptional. I want to be the face against math phobia." Very simple. Wow. 20 years old, he's extremely intelligent and skilled, and it looks like he's really got it figured out as to what he wants to do. And I always love these kind of stories that show us someone with a great talent that is willing to share it with somebody, someone close to them or a whole entire community. So what a really great organization he has to help people where they are to face that math phobia. Because there are a lot of organizations which are really great that kind of pick kids out who excel at math and then can help them, do it more and enjoy what they already enjoy, math. But this organization is more to help everybody who likes math a little or hates it or is really good at it, bringing everybody in at all levels to improve. So, wow, how absolutely inspiring to come from such a difficult position and then be at the top of mathematics. We have a similar story for you next. It's in Tennessee, where at a Kroger, they gave a job to a woman who slept in the store's parking lot. After she posted a job fair flyer at the store, Kroger hiring manager Jackie Vandal heard from one of the regular customers every day. "Will y'all hire me? Do you have room for me?" she asked. She didn't know the persistent woman's name. She only recognized her face, but she got good vibes from the woman. She said, you get a feel if someone's sincere or if they're just trying to get a job to say they got one and then quit a month later. She was very sincere. On the day of the job fair in January, the woman was among the first applicants. Her name was Lashenda Williams. She told Vandal a powerful story of how drug addiction, abuse, and abandonment led her to live out of her car and sleep in the parking lot right outside the door. Vandal asked whether she'd applied online because Vandal really couldn't consider Williams the job until she did. Williams walked out to her car, grabbed an old laptop, and asked Vandal if she had power cord to place and a place to plug it in. For the next 2 hours, Williams pounded away on her laptop keyboard while Vandal came by between interviews to help. As soon as the "you have successfully applied" message popped up on the computer, Vandal told the woman that she was hired. Williams burst into tears and fell into Vandal's arms. She was surprised at first and hugged her and said, "Don't you worry about anything. I am going to work you to death and we'll take care of you." Williams promised her that she would show up and work hard, and the promises are kept. 8 months later, Williams comes in upbeat almost every day to work. She comes in upbeat every day to work and to do the self-checkout. She said, "Don't let anybody steal your joy," is what she tells fellow employees and customers. "It's going to be a great day." Wow. After a few months, Williams earned enough money to get her own apartment, and a customer helped her find one. Another customer rallied Nashvillians on Facebook to donate furniture, decorations, and clothes. With that kind of support, it's easy to be enthusiastic about work, is what Williams says. She says, "I was sleeping in a parking lot and looking for something to eat. Now, all my babies here love on me. No one abuses me, and no one calls me dumb and stupid. For the first time in my life, I finally got peace." Wow, I think this is a totally beautiful story because it goes to show that everybody needs somebody. And truly, as humans, we need to be taken care of, and then we need to be able to take care of other people as well. I am so glad that this story, it has a happy ending and a happily ever after for this woman, and good for her for having such a positive attitude even though life has been difficult in the past. All right, I've got one more world record breakers story for you. This is all about love for a lifetime. Centenarians in Ecuador have been crowned the world's oldest married couple by Guinness Book of World Records. Do you know what a centenarian is? It means someone that's lived for a century or more. So, Waldramina Quinteros, who is 104, and Julio Mora, who is 110 years old, people, have been married for 79 years after a wedding in secret in February 1941. Wow. Well, the Associated Press reports that both families disapproved at the time. The sweethearts knew it was meant to be. Oh my gosh, seriously meant to be, 79 years. The retired teachers live in the capital city of Quito and have missed large family get-togethers amid the coronavirus health crisis. What's more is Quinteros and Mora can draw quite a crowd among their 4 surviving children, 11 grandchildren, 21 great-grandchildren, and 1 great-great-grandchild. Oh my goodness, talk about posterity. So they haven't been able to meet with their family, but they are recognized as the longest married couple on earth and the oldest couple on earth. Charlotte and John Henderson of Austin, Texas were previously listed as the oldest married couple at a combined 212 years and 52 days. But according to the Associated Press, there are longer marriages, but Quinteros and Mora currently hold the title as the eldest, just shy of a combined 215 years. The couple's daughter said that her dad likes to watch television and drink milk, while her mom looks forward to desserts and reading the newspaper each morning. I mean, the simple joys hold a simple voice. Time is living's prize. I just love this. We'll have to post this picture on our stories because it's very, very sweet. What do you think? Could you be with your sweetheart for 79 years on this earth? I think that is so awesome, and all the best to them to continue to have a happy, long marriage and life. Time for a bit of a break. So, do you have kids? Are they in school? How is it going? Hear about the robot cleaning up a Pennsylvania school right after this.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the show. I'm so glad you are here. Now, it's time for a secret. Just kidding, I don't really have any secrets. I was going to try to say something funny, but I think we should probably just stick with the good news stories for today. And you can leave the comedy to comedians. All right, well, we've got 3 more great stories for this segment, all about people helping people, and especially technology helping us out. Like I said, we're going to talk about that amazing school in Pennsylvania. But first of all, we've got a high school football team who swoops in after a tree leaves a man's yard in chaos. The Roosevelt High School football team came to the rescue last week for a paralyzed man and his family after a derecho windstorm battered the neighborhood with 100-mile-per-hour winds. 100 miles per hour. Woo! Ray has been paralyzed for decades, cared for by his 2 sisters in Des Moines, Iowa. When 4 giant trees came crashing onto his property, it destroyed a privacy fence, and the ladies called some old friends to see if they could borrow a chainsaw. The response was, "You need more than a chainsaw." So instead, Doug Applegate called in some of the top guns, 30 team members of the Rough Riders football squad. The teens worked with chainsaws and muscle, and less than 3 hours later, the yard was cleared of tree limbs. The man, oh my gosh, 24 inches in diameter. The tree was 24 inches in diameter. The fence was also repaired and back in place. Jackson Neary is a high school senior, and he said, "That's really just what people in Iowa do. We help each other." Aw, I love that. Ray's sister Janice Love broke down in tears when trying to thank the group after the cleanup was completed, but Ray knew just what to say. "Go Rough Riders!" he exclaimed softly while sporting a huge smile. Oh, I really love that story. Guys that were much more equipped to take care of this tree than the family were able to step in. I love that. So I think that, teaches us always be on the lookout how your talents can be of assistance with somebody else. All right, with vending machines, maybe you think of your favorite soda or Pop-Tarts or your favorite treat on campus or out in the work break room. And a few weeks ago, we even talked about a vending machine that was dispensing donuts. But this story today is about a vending machine that refills cleaning products, and it's reining in plastic and saving money. A Chilean startup is bringing their successful model of cleaning product vending machines to New York City and helping residents save money and avoid single-use plastics. Single-use plastics just means plastics that you use once, right? And it's a lot that we do use. Your laundry containers, spray bottles full of stuff for the counters, little plastic bags, plastic straws. We got a lot of single-use plastic in our life, okay? It got real convenient there for a while, and now I think we're trying to pull back and try to help the earth out a little bit. Buying by weight at a fixed price can help low-income consumers avoid the higher average cost of buying smaller versions of products when they have limited dollars. Back in Santiago, Algramo, which is the name of the company here, Algramo operates electric tricycles with the vending machines mounted on the back. And while in Brooklyn, the idea is to leave them at a commonly visited shopping locations, such as in laundromats. At the machine, customers can use the Algramo app and digital wallet. They use reusable bottles with RFID codes to buy as much of the product as they need while receiving a discount if they use the same bottle code again. The initiative is funded by a grant from Closed Loop Ventures, a New York-based venture capital firm that funnels investment money to startups that contribute to their vision of a circular economy, a strategy in which all waste products are used in another production system. So apparently, buying in bulk saves 140%. Algramo's founder, Jose Manuel Moeller, launched the product in low-income grocery stores selling staples like rice instead of cleaning supplies. Here he recognized one of Algramo's true advantages, the ability to allow consumers cheaper ways to buy in bulk, which can allow Chileans to save 140% on groceries bought in small amounts over a certain period. This kind of poverty tax is something which low-income earners understand all too well. When you buy in small formats, you pay 30 to 50% more for the product, depending on what the product is. Now, Brian Bauer has explained this, and he works on the circular economy and strategic alliances at Algramo. And then in doing that, you also produce a lot of packing waste. That's typically the type of packaging waste that's likely to escape into the environment because it's smaller. And it's also low resource areas where there aren't any good waste management systems in place. So there's a lot of packaging that ends up in the environment and ultimately in the oceans and other places that it should not be. Algramo is also in talks with different apartment complexes about providing Algramo hand sanitizer refill stations in shared areas like laundry rooms. They may not delight the appetite in the same way Slurpee machines might, but these vending machines are helping the planet and helping wallets. And I say that is enough. What a great idea. This makes a ton of sense. I know that at some Walmarts you have those machines that will refill big water jugs that you have. Probably not just at Walmart, but at at stores. You've seen those, maybe? Yeah, and so this makes a ton of sense, and you can buy bulk foods at, like, health food stores or stores with a health food section, where you can buy, like, oats or grains or candy in bulk. You know, you just scoop it out. So this is a really good idea for cleaning products. It makes a ton of sense. And it actually reminds me of, it's not like completely waste-free, but it does eliminate a little bit of plastic, because in Japan, you buy like a bottle with a pump for shampoo, maybe like a few times a decade, like once every 3 years or something. And then the shampoo all just comes in a bag and you pour it into your bottle, so you reuse it that way. I think that's cool. I think it's great to be conscious of what we are using, especially in the plastic realm, because the issue with plastic is, although it's convenient, it can produce a lot of chemicals to make, and also it takes a very, 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 very long time to biodegrade. So when we do what we can to reduce our plastic waste. Okay, are you ready to get robotic? This is the story. It's from ABC7, and it's about a school who uses the virus-killing robot to keep classrooms clean amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. A Pennsylvania school has found a creative way to keep classrooms sanitized, a virus-killing robot. The mobile disinfection robot was designed by Safe Space Technologies. Its sole purpose is to disinfect large rooms like school cafeterias, gyms, and other commercial businesses. The robot uses powerful UVC and UVC lights, which viruses like the coronavirus have no defense against. This can also help shorten disinfecting times. You could do two cafeterias and 2 gymnasiums in 4 hours, which would take a lot longer if you are using manpower, said Safe Space Technologies marketing director Chris Proud. Armed with an internal GPS system, it can be programmed and monitored remotely. The only downside is that it can operate only when the rooms are empty, so the kids gotta be out of there. But that's pretty good. It can just be in there, and it seriously looks like a space station. It's like, we got this tall tower, and it has the lights, and so it, like, you know, shoots the light beams out to, you know. Okay, so there's light particles, and it shoots out and disinfects everything around it. So I love that. We're hearing lots of stories on this podcast about people quickly and efficiently and doing well to invent things that help to make things a little bit cleaner. Alrighty, now don't laugh, but it's time for another break, and I wrote you a poem about the break. Because these stories, it's pretty inspiring stuff. It really cures the blues. Even when times get tough, there's always good news. Now it's time for my break. The next stories are all truth, no lies. That's right, we're reporting about cake and pies. We'll talk again right after this.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now, don't bother, what's hot on Netflix, and everything in between. That's GSMCpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Hey, are you still with me? Because I still have some amazing stories for you. They're about cake. You know, in this last segment, we like to have a little bit of a party and do good news that is more like silly news. But this honestly is just such a heartwarming story. Have you, attended is a word to use loosely, but have you experienced any weddings this year? I know a lot of weddings have been postponed due to the celebrations being unavailable, or, the wedding celebrations being drastically cut down. And hey, a lot of people are saving money, but a lot of people are not, getting their dreams to come true. But there is a sweet story about a couple who got a professional cake decorator who helped them make their very own dream wedding cake after COVID-19 forces them to cancel their plans. CNN brings us this article. When the coronavirus pandemic forced Aaron and Ben Cohen to change their wedding plans, the New York couple thought their wedding cake dreams were over until Publix stepped in to help make it their own. Y'all, speaking is hard sometimes, but I am so happy for this couple. They got their dream cake. Aaron and Ben got engaged on February 29th and were planning a perfect big summer wedding, like so many brides do, right? Being from Florida, Aaron had always dreamed of having a Publix cake for her reception. She says every celebration had a Publix cake. When Ben and I started dating, I brought him to Florida on our very first stop was to Publix. So when Ben proposed, the couple knew they wanted that specific brand of cake. The problem is they planned to get married in Minneapolis, where the Southern supermarket does not exist. So, how do you get a Southern cake up north? The original plan was to get a family member from Florida to bring the cake for the wedding, but when COVID-19 arrived, they had to come up with a plan B. The couple started experimenting with recipes to see if they could reinvent a cake that would resemble what Aaron dreamed of, but none of them were doing the trick. After Aaron shared her story for an article, Publix jumped in to help them make their dream a reality. We heard about Aaron's dream of having a Publix cake at her wedding, and we wanted to help make it happen. So we reached out to see if they'd be interested in doing a wedding cake decorating session over a video call, said Brittany Lavalley, a professional decorator at Publix. We sent them a box with all the ingredients, which included the buttercream icing, cake layers, and decorative gum paste flowers from our headquarters in Lakeland, Florida. They also sent the Cohens a list of supplies that they would need to make the cake. Wow, that is so amazing! So they did it. They started making their own wedding cake. The Friday before their August 16th wedding, Ben and Aaron hopped on a video call with Lavalley and went to work constructing their very own DIY wedding cake. Doing the consultation and tutorial with Brittany and the Publix team became the kickoff to the wedding weekend, and making our own cake has become a big memory for us, Ben said. He goes on to say, we can't do all the things most couples would imagine doing when they get married because of the pandemic, so we looked for unique and different ways to celebrate, so it truly was special. And according to Ben, the results were perfect. It was beautiful. Honestly, I just lost the quote. I'm so sorry. It was beautiful. Honestly, it brought me back to my childhood. Each bit of the cake made me feel like I was home, is what Aaron said. Oh, it's so sweet. And since Aaron's family in Florida couldn't attend the ceremony in person, Publix provided a replica of the cake to them so they could all eat the same cake together on their wedding day. Aaron's mom even froze the top of their Florida cake for the couple's first anniversary. Lavalley says that many people have had to make major changes with special life events like weddings, so we are grateful we could be a part of their celebration and make it a little more special. The true icing on the cake for me was seeing the love and laughter that the couple shared while creating these memories that will last a lifetime. Oh, I thought that was a really sweet story, and just I relate to this not because I had a wedding this year or anything, but because I definitely connect a lot of happy memories to the fun food that they are surrounded by. So, I remember, where we went to dinner the night before I moved to Japan, or the very last meal I had in Japan, or meeting somebody over sushi in Japan, or my wedding cake, or, a special dessert, falling in love with my partner, just fun things like that. And so I love it when sweets are involved, and I think that was a really great story. And hats off to that cake decorator who helped them. I think it is really stressful to decorate a cake on your own. I've only done it like 2 times, and while it's really a lot of fun, it's so different if you're just doing it for yourself as opposed to like doing it for something like really special like your wedding. And so I love that we have like YouTube and, obviously the video call that they were able to do. The technology has really stepped in to help people make their dreams come true. I'm trying to think of my favorite cake decorating YouTuber, and I think it's definitely Sweet Kate Bakery. She's adorable. I first saw her on Instagram, her videos, and she's like a really extremely talented cake decorator. But in her videos, not only does she do these custom cakes, but she also like dances and makes really like fun, happy faces while she's decorating the cake. And so it's just like this burst of energy and happiness and sunshine and goodness when you watch her videos in like a minute or less. She is adorable and I love her. And she's just started to do YouTube videos for like a year now, I think. And they're all about like how she makes her cakes and how to decorate them. And she's just adorable and has a lot of really good ideas. So unless you're making a wedding cake, I think cake decorating can be really relaxing. So if you want to give it a try, maybe check out her videos or someone else on YouTube. It's a lot of fun. Well, speaking of dessert makers, the former cupcake queen has started from scratch, and this time with pies. Even if we don't recognize the name Gina Butler, plenty of folks are familiar with her nickname and her cupcakes. She says that she's always been Gigi. She grew her eponymous cupcakes shop into a baked goods empire with more than 120 locations before selling the operation to a Texas-based venture capital company in 2016. Butler still maintained her original Gigi's Cupcake store in Midtown Nashville until she finally closed it in February of this year. A serial entrepreneur, not like breakfast cereal, like cereal like in a series. Gigi Butler is now starting from scratch again with opening of her brand new venture, Pies by Gigi, operating out of a storefront in Brentwood at 330 Franklin Road. That's in Nashville. The winding tale of how Butler got here sounds a bit like a country song, and an unsurprising fact considering she came to Nashville in '94 to make it big as a singer-songwriter. How interesting. She says, I was singing and writing music, working at Red Lobster, and cleaning houses to make ends meet. I built up my cleaning company by working for a lot of stars, like Taylor Swift's family, Leanne Womack, and Lee Roy Parnell. Interesting. I remember I was cleaning Taylor's house one day when I was almost 30 and she was 15. She was on the bed practicing her guitar and she played Teardrops on My Guitar. I asked her if she wrote it and she told me yes. I cried the whole ride home and wondered how I was going to make it in music if someone so young could write a song like that. I decided to quit and I felt like a loser. Oh my gosh, what a sad story, but pretty amazing that she cleaned for Taylor Swift's house. But she did not give up on Nashville completely. She devoured business books and decided to double down on her side gig. She says, I figured if I'm going to have a cleaning business, it's going to be the best cleaning business. I hired 5 girls to work for me and learned how to manage. I discovered that if you can do the small things very well and with integrity, great things will come to you. Oh, I think that's a really good motto. Then another opportunity came her way in the form of a phone call from her brother. He was visiting a bakery in New York City in 2007 during the height of the cupcake boom. Remember how cupcakes got like super popular in the like late 2000s? And he called to tell Gigi that she should open a cupcake shop. She says that she had never made many cupcakes, but she comes from a long line of bakers and she decided to open the shop. With the recession looming, Butler was stymied in her search for backing. 4 banks laughed in my face, so I took out $100,000 in cash advances and had $33 left in my account when I opened my first store. Oh my goodness, that is scary. She says that she opened her shop and she was pleasantly surprised to see that they were killing it. She says they sold 1,000 to almost 2,000 cupcakes a day, even in the middle of the recession when money was scarce. People would come in and treat themselves. I appealed to everyone and I saw it was replicable. Her landlord had some experience in the franchise arena, so she was able to open up a whole franchise. Sales remained high as the icing on top of one of Gigi's cupcakes and new franchises came on board at a furious rate. Butler even made an appearance on the CBS reality show Undercover Boss in 2015, including a segment featuring a bit of the kind of Lucille Ball and the Chocolate Factory fiasco on her frosting supplier. That moment actually turned out to be sort of a high point in Butler's reign as the CEO of Gigi's. As franchise growth continued to explode, Butler realized that she couldn't maintain the pace. She said that she had a child by herself during all this, and after 65 stores, she couldn't keep up, and she wanted to get off the road, and she was growing so fast and so strong, and she said she felt blessed, but a lot of the business that she acquired had come from mistakes that she made. I sold out to a Texas company named Key Corp, and that turned out to not be a good thing, she says. It turned into the hardest 4 years of her life, and she thought that she was selling to people who could grow the company, but just really couldn't trust them, and then sales plummeted, and she said that last February she finally sold her store. Wow, what a roller coaster. She says, it was time to close that door, but it was also time to start something new from scratch. Even in the midst of COVID-19, I need to recreate myself. She says if she's not creating, she doesn't feel alive. So she put a menu together, and the new Pies by Gigi offers a wide variety of sweet and savory items, from biscuits and quiches for breakfast to muffins, scones, and 2 casseroles per day for dining in or take and bake. And of course, 8 different pies per day, plus mini pies. Ooh, making me hungry. The location operates as a small mercantile with items like jams and Gigi's spices, tea towels, candles, and rolling pins. She's even working on writing her book. And she also wants people to know one more thing. She says, even though you're afraid and it's a scary world, you still have to fulfill your purpose while you're here on this earth and keep moving forward and recreating yourself. After what I've gone through with Gigi's, I have to start over again, and I want to, from scratch. I thought this was an inspiring story because it really goes through so many ups and downs that she has had as a business owner and as a creator, and so I think it really helps us to see that mistakes are a part of the process, and if you're not making mistakes, you're probably not trying very hard. So our quote for today is from Nelson Boswell, and it kind of goes along with this theme. He says, the difference between greatness and mediocrity is often how an individual views a mistake. I really think that this is true, because if we think that we're meant not to make mistakes, and if we do, our life is over, we're a terrible person. I mean, that's how I feel naturally when I make a mistake, especially when I make a big one. And it's embarrassing, it's horrifying, it's terrible, sometimes it's hurtful. We don't want to make mistakes, we don't want to try to make mistakes, but we're humans. The very nature of the human is to fall. However, we have the opportunity to choose to get back up, to learn from that experience, to apologize where we need to, and to try harder next time. Try smarter, try something different. We are able, thank goodness, we are able to choose to learn from our mistakes and grow past them. And that growth really, I think, is the purpose of life, to grow in our talents and share those talents to bless other people's lives. And, that's how we create good news, don't you think? I really hope that you've enjoyed our show today. Thank you so much for listening to America's Still Beautiful. which is brought to you by the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Please subscribe to our show and follow us on social media. You can find GSMC, America Still Beautiful, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Now, be kind to others because you are worth it.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts, America Still Beautiful podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows. From the GSMC Podcast Network, from social media news to marketing news, and even weird news, the GSMC Podcast Network has you covered. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts, America Still Beautiful podcast.